Hey, this is Gene. I just want to talk a little bit about what happened in the game today. I'm just sitting there watching this fucking idiot, Bart Goldbridge, just continually saying that his assertion is that Ten Hag wants to be sacked because he wants the $17 million or 17 million pounds because of the team he left out there, the team that went out there and shut down Aston Villa. The player that he brought in, Evans, who had man of the match performance, going up and down the field from as a center back, playing very well. We had the best chances in the game. And he's like, well, Ineos has to sack him. And he said, I can't believe that they started Maguire and Evans and why. It's just, and he's calling everybody that disagrees with him twats. Uh, I get it. It's like, yeah, this is not what we want long term. You don't want Maguire and Evans there, obviously. They're both in their 30s. You're not going to want that. But he put a team out there that wasn't going to give up any goals, and we had a chance to win that game a couple times, and we didn't do it. We're going on the road in the Premiership against one of the top 8 teams in the league, a team that just beat Bayern Munich, that we basically shut down the entire game. And we show that we can do this against some of these teams. Our issue is our attack. It's not really the midfield as much as people think it is. A lot of people, or the back four, it's our attack. Our front three is not scoring, and if you don't score, then you're continually going to put pressure on the midfield and the defense. Sometimes the midfield makes mistakes that runs to the back four and they score. Okay, this happens. We were outplayed against Spurs when it was 11 versus 11, but you don't know at 1-0. We don't know. We might do something in the second half. You just don't know. We played pretty well against Liverpool until they scored. This game, I thought we played very well for the team that we had out there, that we just did what we wanted to do, and we had chances, but it was always going to be this type of game. I don't understand why people said that Villa was going to beat us like 4-0. They never do this. They have never done that in my lifetime, that they've come in and beat us regardless of what team we had out there. And we beat them last year with a ragtag type team there as well. This idea that we can't play against teams like Villa. And the issue is that we wanted to see if this team actually responded to what happened. Now, they came back after being down to as 10 men to get a draw against Porto in a place that's very difficult to play. Porto was not like Twente or something like this. This is a team that's won the Champions League. They've won the Europa League thing. They've done all this stuff. This is one of the bigger teams in Europe. And we outplayed them for part of that game as well. And we played okay. And we came back down 10 with 10 men. In this game, we outplayed them the first half. We had a couple chances, half chances, and we didn't do anything with it. And it came down to when we have the ball in the final third to actually do something about it. And this guy's just flaying, going crazy right now. I'm not listening to him, but he's like a kid. He's like a little woman just flaying around like that. We got a draw on the road. We weren't outplayed. This is not us going to Anfield and them having 35 shots and we win 0-0 or we get a draw. This game was an evenly placed game. Either team could have won. And that's how it's going to be if we're really good. Going to Villa, it's always going to be like that. It's not going to be just an easy game. And the issue is, all I wanted to see is that what would happen. We either these players played for their future, for the next manager, or they played for the badge, which is fine, or they played for the manager. Okay, those two can be together, and they all gave what they had to give, and they were led by Johnny Evans, who has played for Manchester United for, he's been there for 20 years overall, and this guy knows what it means to be a player for Manchester United, and he led by example, and deservedly, he was the man of match. That dude was going up and down the field as a center back at 35 years old, showing that you can do that. And everybody else didn't. I thought Rashford played pretty well, especially defending. He was involved getting into midfield, doing stuff, trying to stop things. There were just a couple times when he had the ball, didn't really pass where he should have done it. Uh, Garnacho, same thing. They became very individualistic at that time. Uh, Rasmus is still not back, and his control is worrying to me. And I have no problem with him coming off. I think Xerxes could have done more. There's a couple times when he had the ball in positions that could have passed the ball. He just didn't do it. He's got to realize that he's 6'4", and he has to use that physicality. Eriksson played very well. They couldn't do anything. He had the ball and nobody get it off of him. I think Manu was okay. There was nobody that played poor. The only issue I have is that I thought that when Mazarowski went off, I thought we were going to be in trouble. Lindelof is not that he can't play out there, but they didn't really attack that side to the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. If they would have done it when they realized at halftime, I think that Villa would have probably had more chances, let's say. But still, he did okay. Nobody played poor. And they clearly were fighting for something, whether it's their own reputations as players or the manager or something. They played well. You can get all fucking upset that, well, I wake up this morning and what would Ineos would say because we have Maguire and Evans playing there. He had Maguire in his team with Martinez. Was that what he wanted? No, with Martinez. And Martinez has played kind of like shit for 3 or 4 games. So these are the same guys that get upset when he keeps players on, there's not playing well. And then when he actually gets rid of them, or he has rotation, as he says it, then now he's upset and saying it's like favoritism. That he brings in Evans, that's favoritism. He leaves Bruno. That's the only one you might say, but what would you bring him in for? Would you put Eriksen? I guess you could put them there, put somebody else up there. But there were times in that game that Bruno had the opportunity to do shit. And he just missed the pass. There was a couple that he got the ball and had it on both sides, and he just missed the pass by maybe a yard. Now, do we go in and score from that? I don't know. But the thing, it was there, and it wasn't like we were playing a low block and just waiting and then trying to get him on the counterattack. The game was a 50-50 game. On the road, we had possession 50% of that game. And Eriksson, I thought, played real well. And this guy's been playing every fucking week, which is crazy to me. I got to give him a lot of credit that he clearly is showing something in training that he can do this. I understand all the substitutions, other than the fact I think that maybe Ahmad should come in for Anthony. I don't understand Anthony over Ahmad, but whatever. If he thought maybe that, this is the guy that I hired for, maybe he gets the goal for me and then we move on. The issue I have with people like this is they think that he wants to be sacked because he wants a 17 million. And this guy's got the biggest fan channel in the world. And he's saying this team he supports, he says, always be for the team and not be individualistic. He's saying that he wants that the coach is trying to get himself sacked because he wants that 17 million. That's like character assassination there. This is the manager of your team. You can have a problem who he selects. You might say, I wouldn't do that as a fan, but why are you questioning the fact him as a manager of Manchester United? That team went out and did everything he asked them to do. They got a clean sheet. They had the best chances to win that game. We are not going to be the team that we hope to be until we get everything. I mean, we haven't got Yarrow out there. We haven't got all the team exactly. We don't have Shaw where he's supposed to be. We don't have everything where it needs to be to see exactly what it's going to be. We've had 2 bad games this year. We outplayed Fulham and got the winner. We outplayed Crystal Palace. We didn't get anything there. We got a point. We played good for 30 minutes against Liverpool, then they scored. And even the second half, we had as much amount of chances to score as they did. Xerxes could have got a hack track in that game. It could have been 3-3 type of game. The worst team we played, the worst game we played is that first half against Spurs. And that's a fair assessment. But we don't know what it'd be at 1-0. Who knows if Bruno gets red carded there? Who knows? We might come back into that game. All we need is to get the goal. The issue again, and I said at the beginning of this, Yes, we've had issues in the team. We don't have the right 11 yet. But you cannot sit there and say the issue isn't that we're not scoring enough. That's the problem. As bad as you think Erickson is, I saw him ran with a guy for 40 yards today. The guy didn't go past him. He was actually holding on to Erickson. They didn't ever call it, and Erickson got a yard for a yellow for that earlier in the game for the same type of thing. And he stayed with him. He stayed with him the entire time. He didn't get blown away. Nobody went flying past him the entire game. Um, it's not like Villa just did anything to us. They didn't. And again, you can have the opinion that Ten Hag should be sacked, but to sit there and question his motivation, his integrity as a person, when you already think he's the most stubborn manager of all time, you're thinking he wants to get the sack because he brings off or he has Evans and Maguire who played absolutely incredible, both of them in the first half, and Evans for the entire game. And again, Evans have done that ever since he came back. He is showing how you actually play that position. And again, I don't think that Delic had a bad game. That guy had those 2 goals against him. I mean, he got overpowered, and that kind of happens if you allow the difference between what happened on Thursday and tonight is we were on top of people, and we tried to stop them from bringing in the crosses, and we had some physicality with us, and we let them know that we were there on the ball, and understand that we were going to be difficult to get through. That's all you can really ask for until you actually get the players and everything else that comes along with that, the confidences and all that stuff. Once you have that you know you're going to go through for your brothers on the team or the coach or the team or whatever, that's what we need. And we saw that today. Those players did not lay down. They didn't say, God, really, Villa is coming at us really hard right in the second half. We're just going to stay down and we're just going to let it happen. There was never a chance in that game until maybe at the end when it went off of Delo's back that could have went in. They didn't do anything the entire game, and we probably had the better chances. And this is how what's going to be when we ever get to the point that we're a top 4 team again. We're playing on the road against another top 4 team. This is what used to be all the time. People think that when we were winning all the leagues that we're going into Chelsea or Arsenal or Liverpool, and these were this very similar type of games. There's not a whole lot of scoring going on, very tight games because they respect each other, and you realize if you make a mistake, you're going to end up losing this game. That's how that was today. Now, you might say that Villa was a little bit tired for what they did on Wednesday against Bayern Munich, but we played on Thursday, and we actually traveled to Portugal. So I think that this is hopefully they keep him, and people think that might be stupid, but I think that him and Ineos have sat down and said, this is the plan. You have to allow him to have everybody ready. Give him 3 or 4 games to see where it goes. Understand if the team is still going to actually going to fight for him, which they clearly showed. I don't know if Rashford might have get upset when he got taken off, but he was at that level now that he was going to get a red. So it got to that point where he was trying to be stupid. And I said until that point, I thought he played really well. Maybe he was getting tired because he was actually going back and defending. So I think Rashford did a shift. There's nobody on that team that played poor. So I salute the players. I hope we would have got that goal at the end. Gooder pass from Garnacho would have changed everything. Now, I think we wouldn't see it, though. I think you would have the same bullshit if we'd have got that. They would have said it was a stats and grab, which would not be correct. We had many Scots as they had. We had the ball as much as they had on the road with Eriksson in there. And people thought we beat Eriksson. Eriksson was there last year when we beat them. This idea that Eriksson can't play in the Premiership is just foolhardy if you set him up the right place. And again, he was never – I didn't see anything where the ball went past him or the players went past him. You could see that Marcus was coming to the midfield to help. So it was almost like he was inverting more than Delo used to do. So he changed that and a little bit of tactical genius there from Ten Hag. It's just that our front line didn't do what it needed to do when we had the 3 or 4 chances that we actually have. Now, people say the way we played was disgusting. And I'm like, people don't understand we played, like I said, on the road against the top 4 teams, top 6 teams, even under Fergie, especially in his last couple championships that we had. Many times we played and got a 1-0 type of thing. I remember back before we went to, was it Leeds? Was it Leeds or Blackburn? And Katna scored at the end of the game, and they outplayed us the entire fucking game, and we got the goal against Liverpool when was it O'Shea scored it? They out-dominated the entire game, and then Ronaldo hit it in there, and it came out to O'Shea, and he put it in. This happens. All you want is that them to respond to what happened the game that we lost against Spurs. They did that. They got a clean sheet. They gave everything for the badge, and not a legend, but a guy that's played for the team forever, that's got it in his DNA, was the man of the match, and we should celebrate that. I hear a lot of people say that Aston Villa was poor. I think that you have to understand that what makes the other team poor is also the team like that they're playing against. We pressured them. That's the one thing that Rashford was doing well. And Bruno didn't go crazy going after the ball all the time, like with the head cut off. He didn't go back throwing at the going to the Martinez, their goalkeeper, all the time. He stayed more in the middle of the field. And we had many chances when the ball got back to the midfield. If he'd have got the right pass, we might have got it. We might have got a goal there. And I see it. And you're going to see that way when we play teams that are at the top who are supposed to be pretty good. This is how we played against City for a long time. We're not at that point now that we're going to hold on to the ball for 70 minutes or 70%. We're just not going to do that. We might, if we find guys that are a little like older guard or guys of that type of thing. Another Eriksson that's a little bit younger, something like that. But again, I definitely respect what they did, and I'm not done with Ten Hag. Now, Ineos has to make that decision. I don't care. Hopefully they don't. People say, well, they're him and Van Rood was on the ground talking to each other and being animated with each other. And I'm sure it was probably from those substitutions that he brought Anthony in instead of Ahmad, I guess. Or why'd he take off Rashford? But Rashford was on that point. I thought that he might have got sent off, and we couldn't do that. We had to get something from the game, and we deserved something from that game. Nobody can sit there and say that we didn't deserve something from that game. So I'm very glad that we got something out of that, and we move on from that. We go in the international break. We come back. Hopefully we get maybe Shaw will be back. Maybe Malacia will be back. And then we can give Delo and Mazarawi some time off, and then we'll be a little bit stronger then. And then we'll have and then Euro comes back, and who knows what we're going to see, especially after the new year. I just think we're going to be a lot better team. Like I said, we only played really bad the entire year was that first half against Spurs. The rest of the year, we played okay. And it is better than last year. And just because we do stupid shit like against Porto, we're up 2-0, and then we can't keep it. It's like a different competition when we play in Europe than we do in the Premiership. We can play okay. Is it good enough? It may not be. And I'm not going to, if anyone else decides they want to sack him, they better have a backup plan. It should not be rude. And I'll leave it at that. Let me know what you think below. I'm going to put Mark in this, and I'm going to call him how delusional his take is, saying that Ten Hag wants to be sacked so he gets $17 million pounds, and how that's almost it's defamatory. It just is. And you shouldn't say that about a team. You support that. I've always been on Mark's about this, saying he's a fan, but this is delusional takes right now. You could say you don't want him to be the plant manager anymore, but don't ever question Ten Hag and his integrity. He would have walked in there if he felt that way that Mark thinks he thinks. Ten Hag would have already done it. He would have said, "Look, I'm out. You find somebody. I'll just sit there till you find somebody." There would be no question about this. So he knows. I mean, every time we had a chance to score, you saw his reaction. He didn't want to lose that fucking game. Anyway, I'm going to leave it right there. And thank you for watching. And let me know in the comments. And please share this if you want, or like my video, whatever. I'll appreciate it. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.